This particular plant opened in 1974 and it was a fully self-contained plant. It was originally a mix of aftermarket and original equipment. At the moment it's aftermarket. There were 2 tube mills installed and a slitting line, and we were able to slit and cut everything we needed for the product. It was a bend and stamping facility. We made mufflers, pre-bent pipe. At that time we weren't making catalytic converters, that came in the mid-2000s. And the DC was originally in Raleigh, and they opened the DC later on after 1974 and closed the DC in Raleigh. So we're a fully integrated and vertically integrated plant, and we make everything from master coils right through to the finished product. We have 450,000 square feet under roof in which all our equipment is. We have an integrated DC which is attached to the manufacturing building, so we are putting stuff in the DC every day. It's just south of Raleigh. We have approximately 330 people on the floor, and we operate generally from 5 a.m. in the morning till 1:30, which is normal hours, and then we use Saturdays if we have bigger orders that we have to accomplish. We run different departments, and each department is staffed accordingly with highly skilled setup people and operators. We do run in-house training programs as well, and we train people through to the welding level, which is the highest level. We're located next to the Seymour Johnson Air Force Base, and that is where the F-15s are trained, the pilots are trained, so we see them every day. It's a nice self-contained Goldsboro. We have a good set of subcontractors, roofing contractors, so pretty much we're well self-contained and get service very quickly. We have 18 bending machines. We have 6 high-speed muffler lines. We have 3 seam weld lines for converters, 2 robots, and we have major capacity. The process starts with master coils. We buy 18 to 20,000 pound master coils, all the way from grade 22, which is the case shell of a muffler, all the way up to grade 82, which is your thickest grade of tubing. We actually manufacture all of our products from the master coil. We also convert tubing from the master coil and we sell straight to the market. We also use everything out of the master coil to make mufflers, pre-bent pipe, catalytic converters. The coil comes in, we actually load it onto a slitter. We're able to slit the coil into any width that we need in the plant. It could be to produce muffler shells, muffler heads, baffles. In addition, it's used to produce tubing. We slit all the way from 1.5" through to 3" and a full range of tubing we produce from the slit coil. That makes us pretty much independent of slitters, which is very powerful because we're able to react very, very quickly and produce finished products very much quicker. We do not have to rely on third parties to give us slit coil, which is a huge advantage. A couple of routes. The first one is through the tube mill. We produce about 16 million feet a year of tube that we sell directly to the public, and again that's from 1.5" to 3". We produce about 10 million feet of tubing that we put through the rest of our process, which would be for pre-bent pipe, muffler welding, muffler internals, and it all comes out of the same coil. The next step is stamping. We actually have an in-house stamping. We have 2 400-ton presses and a number of smaller presses. We produce all our heads, baffles and internals on the presses, so once again we're independent of anybody else, vertically integrated. We do all our own pre-bent. We actually produce 20-foot lengths and lengths to order, which we put through our bending department, and we bend all manner of shapes. Also the converters, we produce pipe to make our direct fit converters. So once it's been through pre-bent, we can actually send it to the DC and label it, or we can weld brackets, flanges. We are now vertically integrated on flanges. We cut our own flanges as well. In addition, we have 2 automated bracket bending machines, so we do not have to rely on third parties. What we do is we buy our own round and we actually bend our own coils in high-speed bending machines. So once again, we're vertically integrated. So from the beginning of the process to the end of the process, 99% is actually made within these 4 walls and very little is purchased. We've had 2 major investments in the last year. The first one was an upgrade to the tube mill. The tube mill was put in 1974. It was an old Abbey and Etna tube mill, and everything was hard logic. What we've done is we've converted it to modern control systems, and last November we installed a new thermotool, which is the welding controller, which allows you to weld tube at 300 feet per minute. It is a highly regulated power supply now, and very consistent tubing and very, very good quality is coming off. It has compensation for speed, so it also reduces the scrap. So it was a huge investment we had to make, because the old unit, there were no spares, and it was a different type of logic that nobody services. So that's been very, very successful. The second major investment, we invested in a plasma cutter to cut our own flat flanges, which is huge, because now we can cut to order. We do not have to stock, so we've seen a dramatic reduction in stock and of course a cost saving. And those are the two major investments so far. We have our own integrated tech center with R&D technicians. We do several products out of this section because we have to constantly renew our product range, because as the old cars are falling off, we have to develop the new cars. We generally have the best availability of new cars in the business. We're continuously developing. Each technician has their own car line. We have separate technicians for the Fords, the General Motors, Hyundai, Honda, etc. We aim to do 350 new product developments every year. We are aiming by 2019 to be completely current to 2017. This is the lifeblood of the business. We're continuously developing our generic alternatives, because we're not able to manufacture the same amount of part numbers as OEM, and the technicians are expected to produce a generic and low cost but good quality solution once they enter it into the catalogue. At the moment in Goldsbury we're producing roughly 1 million mufflers per year, roughly 500,000 universal converters, roughly 200,000 direct fits, and about 770,000 pre-bent pipe. An example of what we produce is on the table here. This is a pre-bent where we've actually produced the tube, we've cut the tube, we've sized the tube and bent the tube. This muffler here was fully produced here. The case shell was cut from a slit coil. The heads were punched and the internals were punched, again all in this plant. And on the end here we actually produce our own wire brackets. This is put together on high-speed muffler lines, which can run around 2,000 each per 8 hours. We have 6 of these lines, so we have enormous capacity to run these. Another example of what we do, this is a universal converter. We do our own stainless steel stampings. We have 2 400-ton presses. We produce our own nipples. If you were to open this can, you would see the catalytic converter brick, which is made by our sister company AirTech. So once again, fully integrated. This particular line, you put the shells together, you weld it together, you weld the nipples, and basically you have a universal converter. Traditionally, mom and pop shops used to use universal converters, and they used to bend their own pipe, and it was a good way to do it several years back. But the shift has come towards direct fit converters, and the requirement now within a shop is to get as many cars as you can through the lifts. So in the old days they may do 1 or 2 universals, do their own pre-bent pipe and do 2 cars a day. Now the object is to get 15 cars a lift, so therefore you have to produce direct fit converters. And a direct fit is an OEM replacement, meaning that you can unbolt the used converter pipe assembly and within 15 minutes bolt the new one. So you're able to get a far greater velocity through your shops. So the whole shift in the market has been towards direct fit, simply because it's much more efficient. AP has been very successful. There's a number of core competencies here. Our quality is very, very good. It is very similar to OEM quality. Also, with our vertical integration, we're able to get product very quickly through the plant, and we do not have long lead times, which has resulted in very, very high fill rates. Our average fill rate is running 99% of first fill rate, meaning that if a customer orders, he is going to get 99% within 3 days, which is market leader by far. Very few companies can give a 99% across our product range. We have a very good skills base. We have a highly skilled maintenance department which can repair, finish, refurbish and make new machinery, which again makes us independent of third parties. We have a very efficient tool room. Our tool room is fully equipped, so if there's a breakage in dies, we can have it made overnight without having to wait weeks. We're able to cut hardened steel. We're able to react very quickly, which again enhances the full rate because I don't have to wait for anything. We have a good workforce. They're happy to be here. They're in some form of training. We have highly skilled setup people, and again we have constant training programs to equip them better. So once again resulting into a much better quality. We are concentrating on NPI, and we have a very dedicated team of technicians, engineers and fixture builders that are converting these new products into saleable and manufacturable products very quickly. It takes a very dedicated and focused team to do it as quickly as we can. Typically our main measure is customer satisfaction, and everything we do there is concentrated on giving the customer the best possible fill rate. Our quality is very good, so that is taken for granted, but our main concentration here is to give the customer the best possible fill rate so he has a good experience and reorders from us. We do some localized measuring within the plant, but because of the variety of machines, it's not possible to measure everything. So we look at overall productivity measures. We look at parts per person, parts per paid hour, and we sum that up and look at the overall efficiency of the organization. We don't do a lot of localized efficiency because of the sheer breadth. What I mean by that is we're not a slave to producing product that nobody wants. We produce product that the customer wants, which sometimes results in not quite an optimum efficiency because you're not trying to make stuff nobody wants. Our sole goal is to make the customer satisfied, and that is our true measurement.